interesting about CapCut?
Might have been a rumor. That's what I heard.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Brian Fox, Fox Group Real Estate. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And yes, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Bubble Wrap Day. That's not exciting. National Puzzle Day.
It is what it is.
Okay. Not a whole lot of excitement in here today. National Corn Chip Day. Okay, we'll go with that one. Although, you know, how can you have a corn chip day on Monday? You know, you had all the ball games yesterday. You have the Super Bowl. The big game. I don't want to get in trouble. Coming up next week or week after next. And you've got corn chip day in the middle. Shouldn't they have something that's like help your liver recover day or something along those lines? Isn't that what makes a little more sense here? Let's look at the markets. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 10 points. We need a yawning button on here. Yeah, no big deal. S&P 500 is up 5. The NASDAQ is up 46. Oil down $1.15 a barrel. You know why? The only reason oil could be down $1.15 a barrel right now is Joe's asleep. Right after we have a military base attacked, 3 of our military personnel killed, dozens injured, and oil's going down. Now, when that happens in the Middle East, it usually will invoke some sort of a response from the United States. Might be a few days when Joe wakes up or maybe when Secretary Austin gets back, MIA. Don't they call it AWOL when they're in the military? Well, when he gets back, maybe they'll figure out that they should be protecting the men and women of our military. And we love those folks. It's amazing how we're just, they're leaving them out there like that, sitting ducks. It's horrible. But why does that affect the markets? Well, when you start having conflict in the Middle East, historically, oil prices rise. Well, we're looking at the oil is down $1.16 a barrel. And at the same time, you generally see the markets with a flight to quality. What does a flight to quality mean? Well, that means that people start buying U.S. bonds and the bond rates drop. Well, the 10-year Treasury is down almost 4 basis points today, not a huge change. So we are watching that one for you. That does not mean that interest rates on mortgages are down because they're not always exactly correlated. And when you have a week like this, well, nothing's going to matter until Wednesday because that's when we're going to get the commentary from the Fed. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the Fed's not going to do anything about changing what the markets are, the rates. What's going to be driving the market is the interaction between Fed Chairman Powell and the media. His Powell's statement, the prepared remarks, that's going to be meaningless. We might look for a word or two that changes in there. That's all they ever look for. But the market will move based on what Powell has to say. Now, we know he's not going to change rates this time. How do we know that? Because Nick Timiraos didn't come out and tell us they were going to change them. Yes, he's from the Wall Street Journal. He's the mole that the Fed uses. Every Federal Reserve has a mole. And what they do is when they're in their quiet period, they tell the mole what they can't say. So if they were, and the Fed does not like to surprise the market. Markets don't like surprises. So if they were going to make any kind of a price cut where the market does not anticipate a price cut, well, they would have told Timiraos. He would have told the market that he hears, or rumor has it. Well, when Timiraos speaks right before the Fed meetings, that's not a rumor. That means something was leaked right to him. So there's not going to be any change. Now, the question will be, will there be a change in the Fed's, will they reduce rates on the discount rate at their March meeting? The answer is no. And will they reduce rates at their May meeting? I'm going to tell you that's going to probably be a yes to that one. Why? Well, we're going to see a good jobs report on Friday this week. Why do I think we're going to see a good jobs report? Because we always see a good jobs report in January. But I know Friday's February, but it's the January report. We always see a good jobs report then because every administration, doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat, they all want to see a good jobs report in January, for January, because they're going to be giving their State of the Union address. And they want to be able to say how good the economy is doing during the State of the Union. You'll also, if you want to look, and you can fact check me on this, I have no problem. Go back and look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and you'll see which month has the greatest number of revisions to the jobs report. Guess what month it is? January.
Surprise, surprise.
So we'll see those revisions, and that's what's going to happen as it does every single time. Now, what are we going to see? Well, California already has about a 4.8% unemployment rate. That's as of November, the latest statistics available, and that comes from the Federal Reserve out of Atlanta. You can go there and check it out yourself. Yes, the national number is 3.7%. If we put back the people that they don't want to count, right? Every time we get a jobs report, there's people that drop off the jobs roster. If we put those people back on, that they just gave up looking for a job, if we put those people back on, we would already have a 4.1% national number, yet we only report 3.7%. Now, don't forget when you get the jobs report later this week, what does it take for the Bureau of Labor Statistics on their U3 designation to count a job? Well, 1 hour of work for pay. That's their definition of a new job. 1 hour of work for pay during the prior month. I don't know how many people can live off of 1 hour of work for pay, but that's the way they count it. And if you look at the household survey last month, you did see that we lost about 1,200,000 jobs, and we added about 500,000 people getting part-time jobs. So, yes, there are new jobs, and my son has 3 of them. Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, will a silver tsunami change the 2024 housing market? I don't even know what a silver tsunami is, so we'll talk about that one. I can't afford my car payment. What are my options? We'll talk about that. And the real estate market, it's all local. We'll talk about that. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, the Home Select program, it's getting even better. Geneva's Home Select proprietary program. And yes, I did just see another one that went out over the weekend, 2.006 effective APR on a 30-year loan, 2.006 effective APR, 30-year loan. rsrhomeselect.com. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming, 6.687. These are all rates that locked on Friday. The conforming, 6.687. Jumbo, 7.055. FHA, 6.429. USDA, that was 6.556. Best loan on the market for those that earned it. And also, by the way, the most misunderstood, 30-year VA loan, 6.258. We do send out a commentary every morning as early as the data allows. You can get that for free, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Those are all Friday's data. The Market Minute is obviously today's data. But let's see what's driving the markets today or what's happening in the markets. NASDAQ now up 6.12. The 10-year Treasury down 6 basis points, 4.10. Mortgage-backed securities are up 5 basis points. That means that interest rates are they're down just a little bit. Interest rates always move the opposite direction of the bond. Why? Well, I already spoke to you in the last segment about the Fed meeting that's coming up. We're not going to talk about it again. The jobs report, ADP and BLS jobs reports, critical data for the markets this week. Market is expecting that 135,000 jobs were created in January in the ADP report and 170,000 in the BLS report. Difference being government jobs. It will be interesting to see what happens in the household survey. Remember the last month, we saw unemployment rate remain at 3.7%, even though the household survey showed 683,000 jobs lost. It did not rise due to a similar amount of workers leaving the labor force. They're still unemployed, but because they have not searched for a job in the last 4 weeks, they're removed from the unemployment count. Does that make any sense to anybody? The market is expecting unemployment to rise from 3.7 to 3.8. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And those of you watching us online, say hello. Tell us where you're checking in from. We always appreciate that. This morning chatting, Brian Fox, Fox Group Real Estate. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about where is Fox Group at? Or where geographically areas do you cover?
We'll actually cover all of Southern California. We have agents basically all over. We're stationed in Central Orange County, but we'll go as far down as San Diego. We'll go inland all San Bernardino, all the way up to LA. Have done transactions in Northern California when it comes up, but mainly Southern California.
Is there a specific market segment that you deal with? Is it repeat buyers, first-time buyers, military, anything like that?
Not specifically, no. Where we are best is maximizing value. So I own a design and staging firm as well. And so what we'll do is we will increase the presentation of a property through staging that we offer at no cost to our clients. And so what we'll do is we can present the property better to the marketplace, which increases their value.
So I hear frequently when I'm talking to agents and consumers right now, why bother with staging when everything is selling so quick?
It doesn't. Everything sells quick at a particular price, but everything comes down to pricing and presentation. Okay. It's not about price; it's about value. And so when I'm giving people, when I'm buying a Louis Vuitton bag, I'm exchanging my value for their value. There's a value I assess to that item. When it's a house, there's value, but it's a sliding scale, which is why if I wanted to flip a house, I'd come in at the property at this price. But if I was flipped, it could go out at that price. Everything has a value exchange. And so it's not about how fast it goes. It's how fast it goes at what price. So if you want to increase that price stage.
Now, what is your philosophy? Every agent I talk to has a different one. Do you price high and negotiate down? Do you price low and let the market bring it up? Do you price at market? And
that 100% depends on the market in which the property is being sold. So an example of that would be, let's say we were selling a horse ranch. Well, there's probably not a lot to compare it to. So you go out with a price that you say, hey, I think this is where I want to negotiate from. And you're not going to expect probably someone to come and start bidding over because there's not 1,000 people for that product.
Sure.
If there's a property in, let's say, Irvine, California, where everything looks very much the same, you'd probably put that pretty close to or at market, and people who liked it would come and get it. So it depends on the market you're in. Each strategy will work, but you got to be careful.
Is there one that you think is more appropriate, or it just depends on where you're at?
The most appropriate I've seen is to maximize the presentation of the property and then go out at the market price based on comparables. Don't overprice. People will see it as a higher value and they'll be willing to pay you more because you finished everything else for them.
So when you're talking about the presentation, I'm assuming you're going then with more of the professional look as far as photos and issues for on the web and whatnot, or you just say, virtual photos, or how do you deal with any of that?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, imagery, yes. So that's a standard approach. When it comes to presentation, you really want to make sure the house is put together right. You want to remove a lot of items that don't belong there. People are very spatially aware, but they can't really talk about it. They don't understand. It's like when we go in an elevator and someone stands right next to it, feels uncomfortable. We understand space, we just can't describe it. And so what happens is in property,
sounds like a Supreme Court justice that once said that about. Well, we're not going to go there.
So the house has to be curated in a certain way that there's allows for space, for things like that, and then color. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. So if someone actually allows us to come in and reconfigure their property a very little bit, that doesn't mean upgrade. It doesn't mean putting new countertops in. It means minor stuff. There are things that age a property. There's things we can pull out to make it non-aged. Photography is a big part of it, but mainly it's what are you photographing? It's no different than if you were on a dating site and you had a picture of you and your sweats on the couch versus professional photos. It matters what you're presenting. That's
interesting because obviously there's so many people out there that are the home searches all start on the web.
Right. So we are in the scrolling phase of life. You scroll through things and you swipe left, swipe right. And so your house is no different. People will make decisions on their search engines for Zillow Realtor by scrolling fast, scroll heart. It's so fast that you got to catch them as they're doing it. And so the presentation is really important.
So that first picture, when they put a sign of the community, probably not the best picture.
I don't like signs of the community. You can take pictures of the community. You can kind of say what's around there, but my pet peeve for most agents is if I have a property, let's say in a beach city, suddenly I have 15 pictures of the beach in the listing. It's so pointless. But yeah.
I just looked at one of those. It's funny you say that because I just looked at one of those over the weekend. And it was a picture. It was a mountain property.
Yeah. And so there's 25 pictures of the mountains.
Yeah. I saw every angle of the outside of the property.
Yeah.
I get it. There's redwoods. It's redwood. It's looks like a log cabin.
Yeah.
I get it.
I can't like the ones in Huntington and suddenly there's a picture of the pier and the Huntington Beach welcome to Huntington sign. There's a picture of a surfer walking. It's like, it's not helping anything. Those are where I get bugged.
How long have you been doing this, Brian?
22 years.
22. Wow. So you've been doing it a long time.
Yep.
It just fascinates me how there's so many different things that you look at and the people that do anything well make it look really easy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I talk about all the time. If I have no taste, right. So if you ask me to, go and stage a property, I'd be the worst person in the whole world.
You have to be very spatially aware and kind of have an eye for it.
So do you look at when you're talking about having an eye for it and being spatially aware? Again, like I say, I have no taste.
Sure.
Do you change do you think it brings extra value by upgrading a kitchen or doors or window coverings or any of those kind of things?
There's a hierarchy of stuff. A lot of people aren't trying to flip their own house, so we go in and kind of give them advice based upon certain things. But it's kind of like the concept of the suit makes the man kind of thing. So does furniture and stuff in the property is probably more important than the property itself in many ways. So what we'll tend to do is take stuff out that ages the property. I'll give you a perfect example. There's stuff that's period specific to construction that we all know. So remember those glass transparent blocks?
Yeah.
What year was that?
That I don't know.
I mean, you can take a guess though. When do you remember seeing it?
90s?
Yeah, something like that. Like, it's just like, we all know it. We saw it on 90210. It was like but you look at it now and like instantly puts you into old. Like, you think that is old.
Oh, see, you can tell the difference. I'm really old, so I think pink countertops.
Pink mauve color.
The
green,
avocado green.
Avocado green.
Shag.
Yep. The other thing too is like oxidized, when plate covers start turning yellow, the oxidized light switches, lights that just look really old and dirty. So it's things in like a coat of paint can fix a lot of things, but it can't fix lighting. It can't fix some stuff. So you can get away with swapping out lights and it will instantly re-age the property as new. Handles for kitchen stuff, painting the kitchen. So there is a level of stuff, and based upon cost, some of it is very inexpensive for the return. I'll give you an example. We did one of my clients and friends, they inherited their father's home and he hadn't touched it since 1970. So it had everything as it was. All we did was paint it and replace the lighting and pull old things like old mirrors out and put new hanging mirrors up.
So did you have to take the covers off of the furniture, the plastic covers that all of our grandparents had?
Well, they took everything out and we staged the whole property with brand new stuff. And the house went so fast and so high, and nothing about the property had changed, just what we made it look like.
That's fascinating when you could just take the furniture and things like that out.
Yep. Old couch is an old couch.
Some of those things, I mean, when you think about a property that hasn't been changed in that many years, you have to wonder.
Yeah.
We're going to continue our conversation with Brian Fox when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Will a silver tsunami change the 2024 housing market? And can't afford my car payment. What are my options? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Will a silver tsunami change the 2024 housing market? Have you ever heard the term silver tsunami and wonder what it's all about? If so, that might be because there's been a lot of talk about it online already recently. Let's dive into what it is and why it won't drastically impact the housing market. What does a silver tsunami mean? Recent article from Housing Wire calls it, quote, a colloquialism referring to aging Americans changing their housing arrangements to accommodate aging. I think I'm aging. Does that mean I'm there? Maybe. The thought is that as baby boomers grow older, a significant number will start downsizing their homes. I say right-sizing their homes. Considering how large that generation is, if these moves happen in a big wave, it would affect the housing market by causing a significant uptick in the number of larger homes for sale. That influx of homes coming onto the market would impact the balance of supply and demand and more. Concept makes sense in theory, but will it happen? And if so, when? Why it won't have a huge impact on the housing market in 2024? Experts say so far a silver tsunami hasn't happened, and it probably won't anytime soon. According to the same article from Housing Wire, quote, the silver tsunami's transformative potential for the U.S. housing market has not yet materialized in any meaningful way, and few expect it to anytime soon, unquote. Just one reason: many baby boomers don't want to move. Data from AARP shows over half of the surveyed adults ages 65 and up plan to stay put and age in place in their current home rather than to move. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of the socials, or ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you are seeing a chart. 60% of adults age 65 and more expect to stay in their home as they get older. Clearly, not every baby boomer is planning to sell or move, and even those who do want it all at once. Instead, it will be more gradual, happening slowly over time. Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American, says, quote, demographics are never a tsunami. The baby boomer generation is almost 2 decades of births. That means they're going to take about 2 decades to work their way through, unquote. Bottom line, if you're worried about a silver tsunami shaking up the housing market, don't be. Any impact from baby boomers moving will be gradual over many years. Fleming sums it up best, quote, demographic trends, they don't tsunami, they trickle, unquote. If you have any questions, give me a call, 800-306-1990. If you are one of those baby boomers thinking about right-sizing, again, give me a call. Let's put together a strategy. I'll put you in touch with a great real estate agent. As I've told you before, I have a real estate license, and I'm one of the people that's not qualified to use it, as are most people that have real estate licenses. Just throw that out there. Had to have it because of one of the lending companies I worked with at one time made us get, because we were licensed by the BRE. So don't go to your mother's dog watcher's best friend just because you think that it might be wise. Give me a call. I'll put you in touch with a great real estate agent who actually knows what the heck they're doing. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Brian Fox, Fox Group Real Estate, is with us this morning. We're just chatting a little bit about real estate, what's going on in the marketplace. Have you seen many people, Brian, that are the old folks like me that are ready to move and right size?
No, I have not seen much of that.
Do you think it's because they don't want a different property, or are they locked in because of interest rates?
Yeah, I actually don't think it's something that really comes up for people. It's not really a subject of conversation. I think interest rates is going to keep them there. More of the people I've talked to have been inclined to leave the property to their family as opposed to try and downsize for themselves.
Saves a lot. That's kind of is that because they think their family wants to move in, or is that because of estate planning purposes?
I think it's estate planning. Honestly, from the conversations I've had, it's just about, they thought selling's not really been on their mind. Very few people I could say in the last handful of years, the clients that I have had move into like smaller places, man, I don't know, maybe it's part ego too. There's a mental adjustment that has to happen from moving from something and down. I don't think they really want to.
Do you see them moving out
of the house?
No, well, you're mostly in and around the 5 Orange County counties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So moving either, to Palm Springs, Palm Desert area, moving to Texas, Tennessee, Idaho.
No, that's the young kids. I see again, the silver folk, if we want to call it that. They're pretty set. Like those people have owned those. If they've owned those homes, it's been for 30 years ish. They've been a long time. Those
not going anywhere.
Yeah. The mortgages are at 2%. They're paying it down on pension or long-term incomes. The young people today are the ones who are scooting out pretty quick because they either have kids and want to be able to expand their lifestyle. Cheaper. Yeah. Very few, unless if the old people are going, it's because they're following the family.
Following the kids.
Yeah.
I can say that, I would, now that all of our parents are gone, I would say that, that would probably be the motivation my wife and I would have too.
Yeah. I don't blame them.
We want to be near our grandkids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not our kids.
Yeah.
Forget the idea of the kids. We want to be by the grandkids.
Second chance of parenthood.
That's it. Well, I don't know about that. It's we get to spoil them and send them home.
Oh, that's true.
Right. That's where the fun
Get
part.
Them all the sugar candy and kick them loose.
Absolutely. I go down to Balboa and bring home some of those dinosaur cookies and give him the dinosaur cookie and on his way out the door. Right. I mean, it's that's the grandparents.
Teach him how to play drums on a pot. Yeah.
Something I wanted. I said that to my son. I was going to give my grandson a drum set. Now we're going to leave it at your house, Grandpa.
Tin can and a wooden spoon.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So, what are the young people looking for? Are the young people even able to buy?
Yeah, they are, and they're buying. Well, it's kind of more of if they want to own something, it's currently where it's at. It's like, do young people want to buy a loaf of bread and a bottle of milk? Yeah. Is it up 30%? Yeah. It's like, but it's up 30%. So that is what it is right now.
Are they concerned about being locked out of the area, or are they saying, okay, it is what it is, I'm going to suck it up and give up something else and hope interest rates come down sometime?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I got clients who are kind of starting their career and their careers that do have significant upside. They'll get money from family, a lot of money from family. A lot of people getting money from family to assist with down payments. Rents are also very high. So if you want, let's say, it's not a big place, but if you want a house, it's maybe $6,000 a month, depending on down payment. Rent's going to be about $4,000 a month. So and they have W-2 employees, so they take deductions. It just depends. But yeah, there's less people doing it right now, but there's also less inventory. So the competition is a little bit fierce.
What are you seeing with inventory? Is it going do you forecast it's going to come back, or what's your thoughts?
The article is interesting. I don't think that's going to happen. But here's what I do think is going to happen. Number one, divorces and probate and bankruptcies are going to be the leading factor of the inventory that represented something similar to 2008 when the foreclosures happened. I don't think the foreclosures are going to happen in any way like they were before. That doesn't mean that they won't have problems on those loans. The banks they felt it last time. They went out of business. They're going to do that again. So the loans aren't going to go bad. They'll just automatically attach forbearances or sell a bunch of them to another lender like BlackRock, and they'll own them. So I don't think that's going to be, but I do think divorces during COVID, a lot of divorces got filed and courts were closed, and it takes 6 months and a day to finish a divorce. And so minimum. And that's if everything goes right, which divorces rarely anything goes right. We know so many divorce attorneys that are flooded with filings. And so there's just more and more and more and more. So we think there's going to be a lot coming from that, a lot coming from probate. So inheritance, people who did not have trusts, and that goes through the probate system. And then also bankruptcies. Business is going to get a little harder. I see signs on going out of business, and probably a lot of those sales come up too.
Interesting. So you're basically looking, we talk about the 6 Ds.
Okay.
Right. That's my commentary. And you've hit pretty much, I always
Death,
have to,
divorce,
diplomas, diamonds,
Okay.
diapers,
Okay.
death, divorce, and default.
Okay. There you go.
Right. So you've got 3 of those right in there.
The other ones could scatter in there too, but these are the ones that we can automatically go to a divorce attorney and say, how are the filings? And they'll say, can't even keep up. There's so many. And I heard stories of people who had to work from home for COVID week 1 and file for divorce, and they've never had to spend a moment at home with their spouse. The moment they had to, they said, that's it. I'm out of here. Not doing this.
For better, for worse, but not for lunch.
Yeah. For better, for worse, but not for better, for worse.
Yeah, exactly. And from what you're saying though, the masses of them haven't hit just because because I do a lot of divorce counseling as well.
Okay.
And January is divorce season.
It is actually. And then June, July is sales season because 6 months in a day.
Right. So you didn't get what you wanted for the holidays, and I'm not going to put up with this any longer.
I had a lunch meeting with a divorce attorney client, not for me, but my divorce attorney client that I have somebody else working with. And that we had that same conversation in January. So January is flooded with filings. I don't know. I guess and we talked about why do you think that is? New Year's resolution. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm out of here. I deserve better, stuff like that. I'm not sure. But then 6 months in a day, midsummer.
Yeah, I put up with him or her for November and
I
December.
deserve to be happy.
And
I'm not doing it. Yeah, all those things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we went. If you're thinking about that, if that's on your radar, Josh, what's our place on RSR my DYM workbook or RSR DYM workbook? Josh will find that and put it on the screen. But if you are rsrdymworkbook.com, rsrdymworkbook.com, we charge absolutely nothing for it, but go and grab a copy of that, put all your real property right on there, and it'll help maybe save you a little money with the attorney fees. Just throwing that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. I can't afford my car payment. What are my options? We'll talk about it. You can reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. and you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com. I'm going to skip this story because I want to get back to our conversation with Brian Fox, but I do want to let you know, rsrnodebt.com. If you have over $25,000 worth of credit card debt, auto debt, private student loan debt, not the public stuff. Public stuff, there's other solutions for. Our friend Chris has a solution for you. Generally, within 60 months, you can have all of that paid off, usually, no guarantees, but usually at about half of what the amount that you would pay otherwise. rsrnodebt.com, Your Credit Matters segment. Continue our conversation. Brian Fox, Fox Group Real Estate. Just having a little chat here about the market, what's going on in real estate, what's going on in personal. We talk about all the time on Ron Siegel Radio that we want to talk about what affects the roof over your head and your bank account. And some of the things that Brian and I got into in the last segment, if you missed it, shame on you. But the idea here, divorce, probate, bankruptcy. Our friend Chris has a great solution for those of you that have some income. If you have no income, it's hard to help. But prior to bankruptcy, you might want to talk to Chris about solutions, because Chapter 13 bankruptcy is going to be on your record for 10 years, and you're going to have to make payments over 5 years in most instances. Not giving you any legal advice right here. But Chris's program is very similar without going the bankruptcy route. So it might be something for you to explore. And as I say all the time, you can't make an educated decision if you're not educated. So look at your options. But let's chat a little bit more about that, especially being that we're in the season right now, is divorce.
Yep.
Do you have it? I always I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Fun story. Give me maybe a fun solution of a divorce you were able to help somebody with and get him to a resolution.
Oh, goodness gracious. I think, well, since I don't actually do the divorce part, but I end up having to be a moderator quite a lot. And gosh, man,
it's always fun when you're the one in, especially because it's a challenge in your situation, my situation. If the husband brings you in, if it's a contentious divorce, the wife wants nothing to do with you.
Can be. So, but yeah. So depending on who, usually it's a friend, right? So each person has their friend who's a realtor. The problem is if you're a person with a lot of friends, you tend to be that choice quite a bit. And usually you're a friend of everybody, both sides. So, but yeah, if I would say the honkiest one, I've had some big divorces, mega million estates in, different areas of Orange County, and, they're splitting up and stuff gets feisty and they got a lot of kids. The toughest part, I think, is maintaining, don't get roped into the
stay neutral.
Yeah, we'll stay neutral, but more than that is that don't ride the stallion, right? So when someone starts freaking out, the emotional trigger is to not take it. And it's like, You never leave. It's like, remember that movie Hitch?
Right.
Okay, where he said, this is your center. He has a dance like this. Like, you have to kind of stay in the space where no one sees you dancing. Like, you just stay right there. That's a weird way to say it. But in essence, you don't jump into the conversation and run with them. You just let them run it out, like gas out of whatever they're fighting, and then go back to the thing. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the easiest way.
You know, something it does make sense, because when you study, some like marriage, which my wife and I are 36, almost 37 years into a life sentence. You talk about it, and there are differences in men and women, right? Men, we want to solve everything, and the ladies, they just want somebody to listen to them, right?
Yeah.
So exactly what you just said, listen, don't try and solve it, because we're not the lawyer, we're not going to solve the problem,
right?
But stay in our lane.
Yeah. The other part is the moving. The moving is a very emotional base. I mean, we're moving right now, and it's agonizing to move, but in those cases, you're also packing up the life you built. And so I've got a handful of people getting divorced right now, and to watch, they have to go through this emotional change of what I built is I have to take it apart. And for a lot of people, that change is really stressful.
And it's fascinating, because I've done some high net worth divorce also, and you look at it, and the things that come up. One of them that I looked at was fascinating. Was they were in the gaming industry.
Oh, okay.
And the lady, the only house she could find, this goes back probably 15 years, the only house that she could find that met her needs was a $1.7 million house 15 years ago.
Okay.
In Laguna Beach.
That would be what, a $30 million house today?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was, I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the only thing in Orange County that would meet her needs.
What were her needs?
Well, I mean, she was used to having a house in Newport Coast.
Okay.
She thought that, getting divorced, she was going to end up with the same lifestyle that she had as a unit. And it doesn't work that way. It's not all that simple.
No, it's not. And it is sad, because then things get feisty, and maybe the money moves, and you think you're just going to get half of what was in there. It's like, well, where did it go? I mean, there's a ton of things that happen.
And one of the fascinating things is, and I don't know if you've come across this one yet, is down the road, 5, 6, 7 years, and you hear them say, we probably would have been better off if we hadn't got divorced.
I have heard that, yeah, and it sucks.
Yeah,
but there are also other ones who are really happy, and they're like, you know what, that was the best thing I could have done.
My biggest issue on all of them always has to do with the idea of what's going to be in the best interest of the kids.
That I agree 100%. Yeah, I have a 2-year-old, and I don't like making promises I can't keep. And so when I was ready to make that promise, I made it. But now that there's a child, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to let this. We really try hard not even let her see us fight, because we don't want her to know a world that doesn't revolve around. We don't want to scar and give her trauma. Like the first 7 years, they're absorbing information. There's no learning. It's just sponging. And so don't want her to learn that trauma and have those scars in there that she can't really understand, but acts out later. It's wild. We actually went to a couple like kids parties, right? And our daughter she could not understand a lot of the kids, because they were kind of freaking out and screaming and yelling. And you see her looking like, what is going on here? Like it was a zoo. And I was like, I don't know if that's making us look good, that she has no idea what that is. But it was pretty astonishing. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's great that she does not know what freaking out looks like.
Yeah. Something that's, I think, as a parent, that's in my opinion, our most important job.
Yes. 100%.
Right. Is if we're going to bring kids in, it's easy and fun to bring them into the world.
Yeah.
It's not always easy. And as there's challenges raising them
to make them people. Yeah. There's so many things. There's 1,000 things I'm going to teach her to make sure she understands it. Money, make sure she understands, like investing, not investing like Wall Street investing. Like, well, here's kind of how this world works. Like if you want to do it. And Grant Cardone actually had some great advice that I was like, I like him, but that was a good one. And he said, instead of buying your kids a toy, buy him a tractor, but then go buy him one share of Caterpillar and show them that, and like show them the weight of those two things, and so investing. So it's gonna be really cool to watch that happen.
Yeah, it's a great part of life.
Yeah,
like I said, well, my kids are older, but I'll tell you this much: is that your first?
Our first, yep.
So I can share this with you, and it's I've told this to so many people. If you think it's good now, wait, it gets better.
Okay, that's cool.
That's that every stage that my wife and I have gone through, we've always seen is better, all the way up through weddings and
that's dope. Well, I'm excited for the
grandkids.
Disney phase, like the
Yeah.
phase of she's not old enough to like understand that yet. But I was like, that was a really cool phase for me as a kid, like the whole superheroes and Disney and all that stuff. And to get her to, she gets to live it for the first time and to see how excited she's gonna get is, I'm just like, oh, there's gonna be a point where like it's movies all the time. It's gonna be fun.
It is a great time, and it's kind of ironic how you and I end up working though in the divorce side, and you know then you have to leave. You kind of have to separate that, right? When you walk home,
yeah,
because it's amazing. It just baffles me, you know, divorce and what we do in the real estate and lending and whatnot is a challenging time. I'm assuming you're not an attorney.
No.
I'm not an attorney, but you talk to almost every divorce attorney I've ever come across has been divorced.
Yeah, well, realtors too, man. I think that, oh, gosh, I forget what it is. There was a study a while ago. The top, I don't know if it's correct anymore, so I don't want to misquote it, but at the moment that I read it many years ago, the number one profession for divorce was actually law enforcement, and the number two profession was real estate.
Really?
That at the time I read it.
Well, law enforcement I can understand.
Yeah, well, it's demanding. Like my job is, I mean, it's demanding. You people call you. That's when you're working, and
Right.
so the boundaries are tough, and people have a real tough time with money, and there's all kinds of things that are really complicated that people never learn in licensing process of real estate.
Yeah, that's great. What is your favorite part of the job?
I really like teaching. I love the presentation part, the staging and making a property. What I like is this is my favorite. My favorite part of the job is at the end when I get to say, see, I told you this would work. And so like we don't charge anything until the end. Only way I ever get paid is when it's sold, not during the staging, not during the design, not during the consultation, not during all the trips I make to house to make sure it look exactly the way I know it needs to look. I get done at the end when I'm done negotiating, done with everything. And at that moment, when they see what they're getting beyond what they thought the market would give them, I say, see, trust me, it's going to work fine. That's that moment. That's the cool part. Cause I've had people move out of town, like to be close to family in Nashville, and they go with an extra 6 figures. Like they didn't even think they were going to get that.
That's gotta be exciting.
It's awesome.
That's life changing.
I like showing them that can happen. So just trust me on this. I got this.
Now, do you work with buyers also, or just?
Okay. Different process, but yes, equally good.
Yeah. I've always said that the realtors who get to give a first-time home buyer those first set of keys.
Yeah.
That's got to be an exciting feeling.
It is fun. Yeah. And I always like going to them on the second house though, because the first time it's the same kind of conversations. Trust me, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just watch. The second one, it's like they've been doing it for like ever. And suddenly they're, kind of experts. And so they different conversations. And I'll tell you, all the conversations we're having now, when we sell this, we're gonna have very different conversations. You're gonna be a homeowner. You're gonna have a lot different looking on what's going on and what to do. And so it's a fun kind of second conversation because I'll get to remind them of all the stuff we talked about before. I'll say, remember we talked about this and I said this was gonna happen. Watch. And so it's an easier pathway.
I'm sure it's a lot easier because now they've got a point of reference, and it's not you saying trust me. It's you saying, do you remember what we told you?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not having to
trust me again. It'll be fine. Okay, you got it.
Take the guidance.
Yeah,
and that's why we often say on the show, something. If you think that education is expensive, try ignorance, right? And like Brian's saying, he doesn't get paid anything until he proves his point, right? If you're not correct,
yeah,
you're not getting paid.
I take all the risk.
Right.
There's no risk to anybody else but me.
Exactly.
So I have to be good at it.
Exactly. And my guess is, especially with a 2-year-old little girl, you're not making enough on any transaction to retire.
Not yet. No.
So you need to keep doing it over and over again, helping people.
Yeah. It's a game of numbers.
Exactly. If you want to meet Brian, give me a call at 800-306-1990. Be happy to put you in touch. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.